Whether you love exercise or you hate it, you're probably missing out on adding this important muscle into your regimen. If you consider yourself lazy, sometimes just getting off the couch can seem like too much. In this video, I'm going to show you the one muscle you absolutely cannot neglect a day in your life and how to exercise it to make sure it's working its best. If you exercise it daily, it can lead to decreased stress, improved performance, and even reduce acid reflux. If you're new to the channel, the mission is to spread the message that movement is at the foundation of every musculoskeletal problem. Unnecessary surgeries and opiate use are at an all-time high. For regular videos to help you feel and perform your best, please click that subscribe button. This is a muscle we should be using multiple times every minute of every day. And no, I'm not talking about your heart. What I'm talking about is your diaphragm. In a nutshell, it makes up the ceiling of your core. Think of your core like an apartment. The diaphragm is the ceiling of that core, with your obliques, your abdominals in the front, your six-pack abs being the walls on the front and sides, and your lower back muscles being the wall on the back. Your pelvic floor is, of course, the floor. One of the things that's so unique about the anatomy of the diaphragm is that there's a part of it that attaches to your rib cage, and there's also a part of it that attaches to your lumbar vertebrae. The part of it that attaches to your rib cage is responsible a lot for that breath that we talk so much about. The part of it that attaches to your lumbar vertebrae comes up and sort of surrounds the esophagus right at the point where it attaches to the stomach. So it provides some extra protection to keep those fluids in the stomach and from tracking backward into the esophagus. So that's how come these studies that have looked at diaphragmatic breathing training can have effectiveness for people with reflux disease. It's pretty amazing. The other piece about the anatomy that's so interesting is in the center of the diaphragm is a circle, and the anatomical items that travel through there are the esophagus, but also the vagus nerve. Your vagus nerve is one of your cranial nerves. Your 10th cranial nerve starts in your brain, travels all the way down, and is the main driver of the parasympathetic nervous system. Your sympathetic nervous system is your fight or flight sympathetic nervous system branch. So if there's any type of danger around, that's when your heart rate will race, it increases oxygen to your muscles, you're getting ready to exercise, that's your sympathetic nervous system. Most of those signals originate out of the thoracic spine through these ganglion. The parasympathetic nervous system, or also called your rest and digest system, is driven mainly by the vagus nerve, which has some different origins, the main of which comes down from the cranial nerve, and it passes right through that hole in the center of the diaphragm. So being able to have control of your diaphragm, they believe, because of that anatomy of the vagus nerve, is contributing to the relaxation. You're sending signals to that system. So being able to control your breath in specific fashions, especially breathing through the nose, out through the mouth, with certain rhythms that I'll get into shortly, is a key driver for success when it comes to reducing stress and anxiety. Now I'll put a link for those studies in the description of the video, so be sure to check that out if you're interested. The key takeaway is that how you choose to breathe is going to impact many different parts of your body, including your digestion as it relates to that reflux and your ability to handle stress, or your general resting level anxiety. So how we breathe is going to be so important if we want to have those positive impacts. We look at diaphragmatic breathing, and what we want to see when you breathe is that the first thing that moves should be your stomach. The diaphragm, when it contracts, it's going to push down and flatten your abdominal contents, so your stomach should come forward. We should see the upper chest stay relaxed until later in the breath, and really only if you're doing a super deep breath. There should be very little to no elevation of your shoulders. The reason so many people carry stress and have knots in their upper traps, in their shoulders and their neck, is because people are breathing with their upper respiratory muscles. And we really don't want to use those, especially for resting low-level breaths. So the diaphragmatic breath is going to start down here with the belly expanding. As you go deeper, these ribs should start to come apart. From there, once you have a full breath, you're exhaling, the ribs start to go down and the stomach comes back into its resting position. The whole time, again, this should stay relaxed. What type of techniques you use during the breathing can vary. One of the most popular and basic means of doing the diaphragmatic breaths is to use a box breathing technique. So it's 4 seconds on the way up, 4-second hold, 4 seconds on the way out with your breath, 4-second hold to form a box, and then you repeat, each being 16 seconds, and that's going to take you through 4 breaths over the course of a minute. The research kind of points to the fact that if we can do a longer exhale, we're able to drive relaxation a little bit more. And if we're able to do a longer inhale compared to exhale, we can drive sympathetic more. You may want to do this if you're trying to get ready for an activity, get ready for exercise. You do a 4-second or 6-second inhale, and then a 2 to 3 second exhale. Breathe out quickly. Repeatedly, that's going to give you a little bit more sympathetic drive to get you ready for activity. Most of us probably want to use our breathing to help us relax, so we'll do 2 to 3 seconds in and then 4 to 6 seconds out. 2 seconds in, 4 out with pursed lips like you're blowing out candles. And then you repeat this ongoing through the course of a minute. If you do 2 in, 4 out without pauses between, you'll get 10 reps for 60 seconds. The average respiration rate for most humans is between 12 and 20. So if you can do 10 or less with this exercise, you're going to help kind of down-regulate and relax your systems. Another way your breath can impact your musculoskeletal system, your bones, your muscles, your joints, is by sending signals to your nervous system that everything is okay. If you can take a full breath in a range of motion, then you're sending signals to your body that you own that motion and it's safe. So if you're only able to breathe 50% of your maximum at, say, end range rotation, I feel like I can't breathe as well when I rotate to the right as I can when I go to the left, then I know I need to work on my respiration training in that position, which I'm going to show you shortly how to do that. If you want to see how well you can control your breath in different positions, or you're just looking to improve your breathing and strength of your diaphragm, it might be a good idea to pick up an incentive spirometer. I'll put a link for one in the video description. This is going to measure how much volume you can take in when you breathe with each breath. It goes from 0 up to 5,000 milliliters, and on this side there's a measure of the intensity at which you're breathing in, and you actually want to keep that rate of inhale pretty low and see if you can sustain that up to a high level. So I'll give you an example. At rest, here I am sitting. I'm going to exhale fully. And I let the plunger go all the way back down. So I got it almost to 5,000, keeping this in that, it says good, better, best. I was pretty close to best the whole time, but now I know my max is maybe 4750. Then I could take myself into a different position, say right rotation, do the same inhale, see if there's any difference in what it is. If I can only get 50% of the volume with right rotation, but I can get 75% of the volume with left rotation, I know I need to work on breathing in that range of motion. Now, we don't expect it to be fully when we're rotating that to that degree, because the rib cage changing is going to limit your lung volume's expansion. Your ribs just can't expand as much. But what we're looking for with that is definitely symmetry. All right, but you can check it lying down on your back, you can check it sitting, you can check it standing. You should have reasonable symmetry with each of those different positions. Now, before you go using the spirometer, make sure you get cleared by a medical provider, because if you have any issues with your heart or your lungs, it can lead to some fainting episodes, lightheadedness, which we totally want to avoid, trying to help, not cause a problem. Something that can be causing you problems with your rib expansion is the thoracic mobility, or where those ribs attach to your spine in the back. So one of the little tweaks that I've developed and like to use for myself to increase the mobility and the breath, and also just to really help me relax, is to improve that thoracic mobility while I'm doing my diaphragmatic breaths. So I'll use my roller here. This is a T-pin muscle roller. It's very firm. If you like something more intense than a regular foam roller, I recommend it. I'll put a link for it in the video description. You could also use 2 tennis balls taped together, 2 lacrosse balls, or a regular foam roller. The issue with the foam roller is you won't be able to isolate one segment at a time. Now I place this down at the lower thoracic spine, and then I bring up, I make sure my butt doesn't come off of the ground, and I make sure I'm not arching my back. But from there, I just get a bit of extension here. When I go through my diaphragmatic breath at each segment. Now I move. And every single time I do this, I just feel relaxation because I'm able to kind of unwind and open up each of those levels where the rib attaches. You just work your way through the whole spine. Start with one breath at each and you can increase from there. I have a couple other hacks I'm going to show you to improve your breath capacity and your ability to use these lower ribs. The first is just assisted inspiration. So we're trying to help the inhale by helping these lower ribs both inspire, and then I'll show you how we help them expire. We always want to start again with the diaphragmatic breath, driving with the belly. So we're in here first. Make sure you have control of that before you try any of these extra techniques. When I'm breathing in and out, when I want to increase that further, I'm just going to kind of find the borders of my rib cage here. Your bottom two ribs are floating ribs, and they will kind of pop out like calipers. We don't want to grab those. That's going to cause problems. You can feel the edges of those. And as we get up a little higher into the rib cage, they move like bucket handles. So they kind of move up like this when you breathe in. As you get higher, they move forward and back like a pump handle. So here what we do is we grab these ones that like to move like bucket handles, and we're going to assist them. Okay, so I'm in with the belly, and then pulling apart with the ribs, paying attention that I don't shrug my shoulders. And then on the expiration, when I exhale, I do the opposite, and I push together to force out a little bit more air. In, out. Now you want to just do maybe 1 to 2 pounds of pressure. It's very gentle. There should be no pain at all, no irritation on the ribs when you do this. In and out. What most people don't realize is that your brain's signal to your body to breathe is driven primarily by carbon dioxide buildup rather than a need for oxygen. So an inability to fully expire is going to cause all sorts of problems with your respiration and the signals in your body. So if we can improve our body's ability to expire more and work on its ability to inspire, we'll see more gains. I wouldn't do more than 3 reps of each of those to start, then you can build up to 5, and then maybe do 3 sets of 10 with the last 3 to 5 of each set, including that extra pull there, being sure you're not causing any pain. People are always interested in how often to do an exercise, so I'm going to go over that now. If you're new to this and you can commit 5 minutes per day as a starting point, trying to work your way through the box breathing to begin is probably the simplest step. If you find that that's too difficult, do some of the 4 and 2 or 2 and 4, depending on what activity you're trying to get ready for or what your desired result may be. From there, you can try to build up to 3 times a day. If you find that that's not realistic for you, just do it 1 minute at regular intervals throughout the day. If you can just take 1 minute and break it down from your normal 15 to 16 respirations down to 6, you'll be able to have a little bit more relaxation and over time, much more of a habit. If you're anything like the studies that worked on diaphragmatic muscle training, within a few weeks you should be noticing the ability to stay more relaxed and potentially even improve your reflux if you suffer with that. If you're going for the performance angle, you should notice the ability to move the needle on that incentive spirometer and have an easier time with doing your endurance training. Join me on my mission to cut out unnecessary surgeries and opiate use by subscribing to my channel and clicking over here. To watch more content about how movement is the main driver behind musculoskeletal problems, watch another video and click down here. If you want to keep improving, you got to keep it moving.